Hello again, Professor Cat, Wonderful Wizard of Math, here to talk to you about another way to solve percent equations. So let's say my friend, the owl here, is going to a party with some of his other owl friends, and there are 7 owls in all, and 2 are snowy owls. He wants to find out what percentage of the owls are snowy owls. I'm going to teach you a second way that you can solve that question today. Let's get out our quills and write down our teach point, or what you're going to learn today. So today you're going to learn how I can use the percent equation to isolate my variable. And today that variable is going to be P, or the percentage, to find percents. Let's get started. The percent equation has 3 parts. And those parts are the size of one whole group, what percent of that group you have, and your answer. So when you take the whole group and you multiply it by the percent you have, you get the total number that you have. For example, let's say that I had 10 owls in the whole group and 20% of them were barn owls. I would multiply 10 times 20%, and as a decimal, that is 0.2, and I would get how many owls I have that are snowy owls. 10 times 0.2 would be 2 owls that are snowy owls. Let's watch this in action. Question 1 is, what percent of the guests are birds? So first I'm going to set up my percent proportion equation by taking the 3 parts of that equation. And then I'm going to write out that the whole group times the percent I have is equal to the number I have. Let's start by counting how many are in the whole group here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I can now replace this value right here, whole, or the number in the whole group, with 15, because there are 15 animals in the whole group. Next, I have to find how many are birds. So to find out how many I have that are birds, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Since I have 7 birds, I can replace that with the number 7. And that leaves me with the equation 15 times an unknown variable, or a percent, because we don't know what this is right now, is equal to 7. Now remember that our teach point said I can use the percent equation to isolate my variable. Let's go back to our first example and isolate our variable. To isolate P, or to get it by itself, I have to divide both sides of this equation by 15. So I'm going to divide this side by 15. 15P divided by 15 is 1. So those two cancel each other out, and on this side I have just P. And when I do 7 divided by 15, I get 7 over 15. In order to find the percent that is, I'm going to take my Muggle calculating machine, and I'm going to type in 7 divided by 15, and I get 0.46 repeating. Now that's the percent as a decimal, it says right here. So we know that percents are parts out of 100, and we know that this is a tenth and this is a hundredth right here. So we know that this is 46 parts out of 100, which means this would be 46.6 repeating percent, and that would be our answer. Let's look at our second example. This is a question that in a moment you're going to solve on your own. So our next question is asking us what percent of the party guests have green in their hats. Or if you want to make up a different question, you can always make up your own. What percent have orange in their hats? So you're going to first start by writing out the percent equation. Whole group times percent is equal to the part. Then your next step is, on your own, to fill in the parts that you can solve for, right here and right here. You have your variable of percent in the middle. And then you're going to use what you know about performing the same operation to both sides of the equation in order to isolate your variable and then turn that decimal into a percent. I look forward to seeing your work. Go ahead and hit the pause button. Come back when you're ready to check your answers. And welcome back. Let's see how you did. So in this one, we know that the whole group, we have to count it out, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So the number that replaces my whole group is 20. So now I have the equation 20 times my variable p is equal to the number I have. This is how many have green in their party hats. So let's count how many of our friends at this party actually have green in their party hats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So party guests that have green in their party hats is equal to 11 guests. So 20 guests in all times a percent of that population that has green in their hats is equal to 11 guests. The next step I hope you did was to isolate your variable, which of course in this example is p. In order to isolate that variable, I have to divide this side by 20 to get p by itself. And if I divide one side by 20, I also have to divide the other side of the equation by 20. So on the other side, I get 11 divided by 20, which is the same as 11 20ths as a fraction. When I put into my calculator 11 divided by 20, I get 0.55. Now remember that this is the percent written as a decimal, not in percent format. So in order to get this into percent format, I know that it's 5/10 and 5/100, which means that I have 55 parts out of 100, which is equal to 55%. So I hope you got the answer that 55% of the party guests had green in their hat. So I want to remind you that even though you have the percent proportion equation, you can also use the percent equation that we learned today for the same purpose of isolating your variable to solve for a percent when you know how big one whole group is and how much of that whole group you have. Thank you for joining me. As always, please post your own question in the comments that you've written and find a question that somebody else has written to solve and write your answer. Have a wonderful day.